Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. So we need to talk about what happened last night. On August 9th of this year, police officer Darren Wilson shot and killed an unarmed black teenager named Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. The case has been under investigation for months, and last night a grand jury decided not to indict Darren Wilson for any wrongdoing. Now some people think this means that Darren Wilson has been pronounced not guilty of any crime, and effectively that's true, but it's actually more complicated. For Wilson to be pronounced not guilty, he would have had to go to trial, and the grand jury proceedings were only to decide whether the case would go to trial at all. This brings us to one of the most frustrating things about the decision, which is that the state has decided that the matter is just not worth investigating further. Now, a federal investigation is still ongoing, but I want to hang back on this state decision for a moment because it's honestly kind of baffling to me. The purpose of a grand jury is not to establish guilt beyond reasonable doubt, but to establish whether there is probable cause to believe a person is guilty. Now, most legal experts will tell you that probable cause is a very low bar to attain. It's a question of, is there evidence that could lead one to believe he is guilty of something? And if there's a compelling reason to think that a person might have done wrong, the grand jury gives an indictment and the case goes to criminal trial. Now, probable cause could theoretically be established by conflicting eyewitness testimony or false statements in a key statement by a witness. And I bring those up because both of them exist. There are conflicts between multiple eyewitness accounts and the statement of Officer Darren Wilson, and there are statements in Darren Wilson's testimony that are objectively false, like his statement that Mike Brown died within 30 feet of the police vehicle when actually Mike Brown died more than 100 feet away from the police vehicle. I've read the entire Darren Wilson testimony, and there are many other statements within it that, while not objectively false, are very questionable and could have used some further looking into. Many people have criticized the actions of State Prosecutor Robert McCulloch, who they believe may have had personal stakes in this case. As a prosecutor, McCulloch's job should ostensibly have been to provide evidence of probable cause to the jury, which could have been quite a short proceeding. Instead, McCulloch provided the full body of evidence that he had at the time, which is not standard procedure for a grand jury proceeding, including the testimony of Officer Darren Wilson, which is extremely unusual, and essentially asked the grand jury to decide guilty or not guilty without a judge present in a secret proceeding that we, the public, will never get to see. Looking at the evidence we have, it's impossible to say for certain whether Darren Wilson was guilty or not, but that is the point. A trial could have told us, if not for sure, then at least with more certainty than we have right now. When George Zimmerman was acquitted of the murder of Trayvon Martin, we at least had the appearance of propriety. His actions were evaluated against the laws of the state and found not to have violated those laws beyond reasonable doubt. But here a grand jury seems to have decided that the statement of one white cop who has a vested interest in the outcome of the case is worth throwing out the testimony of multiple black witnesses, who, while maybe not entirely objective, are at least more removed from the situation than Wilson himself. All in all, this is a super depressing story, and it's not over, but it's very disappointing. Rebels, being black in this country seems to grow more and more dangerous every time a new story like this pops up. I mean, on Sunday, the day before the grand jury decision was announced, Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old black child, was shot to death in a Cleveland playground by police who feared he might attack them with his fake gun. Obviously, no one wants police officers to get hurt, but these constant, disproportionate, preemptive shootings of African Americans are a little hard to fathom when even our military personnel in the Middle East are trained not to fire unless fired upon first. And when the Aurora, Colorado shooter, who was white, was wearing camo and carrying multiple firearms after shooting many people in a movie theater and yet was captured peacefully, it's just a little hard for me to get. Our attention should now move to the federal investigation in the hope that actual and fair justice will be served in an open and transparent manner, because I think we could all use that. Thanks for watching, Rebels. Please stay safe. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.